Hello to you, my fellow Dark Ones. How are you guys doing today? How's life? Today we are going to play around with a mod whose name I shall not mention. We're going to make a few molten salt reactors. I didn't know how to make molten salt reactors and somebody left me a comment that, yeah, there are schematics in the JEI. However, before doing that, I do have a slight problem. The different colors that I'm using on the ender tank as well as the ender chest in the ME system are getting a bit out of hand. I don't really know which colors I have, I don't really know which colors are left, so we need to come up with a solution. Normally I would go with a quantum entangler porter, but unfortunately, a mechanism is not included in the pack. However, one thing which is included in the pack is the dimensional transceiver from Ender.io. I need to pump in so many fluids into the reactors that I think this is the wisest decision, so that I can keep track of them. So, dimensional transceiver. I can make it? Can I make 10? Can I make 100? Okay. Well, let's get 10 for now, and then figure out why the hell can't we make pure fluids. Oh. Okay, there is a mythic processor for it, and thankfully I already have a slot. The slot that I have over here is actually reserved for the other mythic processor, which does have red electromagnet. So we're going to assemble this one here. Oh, yes, tier 1 mythic coil. You go there, and here is the phytogenic insulator, which I guess it makes sense. So as usual, ender chest on top, interface in the bottom, we do have power, and I guess it does make sense to encode patterns in stacks, right? Mythic processors are fast. So if I order 1000 pure fluids, can we have them? No? Oh, it's working. Okay, it's also not that fast. Yeah, but it's fine. I'm not picky. But we have done all of this to get this thing. Dimensional transceiver. And yeah, it does have channels, which is perfect. A teeny tiny bit of a change of plans. I just heard the dragon. It's here. Please be a female. Hello? She's dead. So many mobs. Come on. So you were stage 5. We didn't get an egg. It's fine. I don't really think there's anything of interest inside the chests, is there? Probably not. And that is the hole. Well, we did kill a dragon. It wasn't a female. I got a nether star. Anyways, the change of plan did not have anything to do with the dragon. I was just preparing an area for a new base. We need a few more machines before we would be able to make the molten salt reactors, because I need those machines to make everything more efficient. And since there's a rift over here, let's try to close it. Are you closing? You will. And just in case you're wondering, for perspective purposes, that should be our B area. So we're pretty much far away from the base. So why did we have a change of plan? Good question. Last episode we were making a few fluids for different resource miners, and what those resource miners give us are garnets. These things that you see over here. On their own, they're not that useful. Well, they do have a singularity, which is sometimes useful, but you get the gist. Each one of the garnets comes from a different dimension, and what they are actually used for is that you can get the resources of that dimensions using the garnet. For example, this is the mistite ingot, correct? You get it from the ore. Ores are incredibly rare in Advent of Ascension, so you can't really mine them. And fun fact of the day, they're not actually ores, so you can't prospect for them. It seems they're just normal blocks. A programming thing, I don't understand it. But yeah, this is mistite. Ores are out of the question. How do we get it then? You make the chicken egg for mistite. Well, the more I'm looking, I can't find the chicken, but let's go with Blazium. So you need a Baratos garnet, a Blazium egg, and you will get 2 ingots, correct? That's not very efficient because garnets are rare. Using the Ender Dolomite, we would be able to cut the garnets into 4 pieces and then use them. It's slightly more efficient and we're quadrupling the output. However, there is a better way, using an arcane ensorcellator from thermal expansion. You take the cut garnet, you mix it with the egg, you enchant the egg, and then you put it inside a machine called Shadow Fracturer and you get 8. So that's doubling the ore quadrupling, which is a good thing. Right? Now, the problem is that this machine called the Shadow Fracturer requires 2 fluids, Hint of Divinity and Hint of Insanity. Hint of Divinity is actually quite easy to make, we can make it already, but Hint of Insanity requires this weird object from my favorite new mod, Content Tweaker. It is incredibly difficult to automate, so what we need to do is that we need to focus on getting the Berserker Forge. That's a multi-block machine which is going to help us a lot in automating everything. Can I eat this? Doesn't kill you. Good. Anyways, that's what we're going to do. We're going to make a few Berserker Forges. In order to get the forge, all of the blocks that you see over here are incredibly cheap and easy to get, except one thing. 4 buckets of molten Berserker steel. So how do you get the actual ingot? Well, this is the recipe for it. We needed the Wing of Worship, we needed the Hand of Dominion. And this is why we have a few demons roaming around our base. That is something that we did last episode, but you might notice we're missing one thing, Soul of the Dragon Slayer. In order to get that, we need to perform a ritual using a few gizmos. A few hundred episodes ago, we went to the Shadow Realm from Meatballcraft and got this. It's also reusable for shapeless recipes, which it doesn't have any. So it's not really reusable, but what we need to do is that we need to convert this into the Whispering Heart of Hearts. That one has EMC. So for the moment, you go in the center and let me figure out what else we need. We need the Sigil of Battle. We need to use the cauldron a bit. And of course, that is one of the things that you cannot shift click, okay? But there you go. Sigil of Battle. That goes on another pedestal. We're missing one item. The Swirl of the Depths, which is again another thing that you cannot automate. So what we need is a Witch's Brew. I think it's like the uncraftable potion, meaning that it can be anything. Let's boil some water. In order to make the Witch's Brew, what we need to do is that we need to drop a mandrake root. Doesn't really matter. We go with apples and then we can take it out. Lovely. That's a Witch's Brew and it gives you 4. Oops. I think that's literally the... Oh, I have one. Okay, we're good. And obviously inside the distillery, we get it. So that should be everything for the Whispering Heart of Hearts. Apart from the fact that I do need to have a sacrifice, so here's a cow. And we also need to have 100,000 PE, which we have. So we activate the ritual, we kill the cow. Thank you. We have the Whispering Heart of Hearts. Well, this is expensive. Let's dupe it a bit. It's 4 billion EMC. Wow. So now that we have this Whispering Heart of Hearts, we need to convert it into the Soul of the Dragon Slayer. Obviously, there is a puzzle for this, which Mysterium was supposed to guide us, but I did not find anything. But thankfully, there is a puzzle solution. We need dragon scales, white, amethyst, green, grey. There is a green scale? Didn't know that. I think they meant emerald. Oh, we could have used this with some hide. That would have been cheaper. Yeah, we will dupe this later on. So, Whispering Heart of Hearts. You go in the center, and what do we get? Soul of the Dragon Slayer. How would you automate this? We kind of have to. Oh, we can automate this. For the Soul of the Dragon Slayer, this is going to be our pattern. That should go inside the crafter from RF Tools. And if we order 1 Soul of the Dragon Slayer, we should get all the ingredients. Perfect. So we just have to set in a recipe? Yeah, exactly. We got one. So now what we should be able to do is to have a pattern for the actual steel ingot. Voila. It's for the Dragon Forge and I'm always a bit confused which one is which. I think it uses an ender chest, right? Yeah. So can you make me one? Okay, we got all the garbage. And we got the ingot. Perfect. My fellow lords and ladies of darkness, this is Lash from the future, because I have made a few boo-boos. Well, I didn't really make a boo-boo, but I realized when I was making the Berserker Forge, I was overcomplicating stuff. So we're doing take number 2. So basically, what I have done is that I have made 6 Berserker Forges, correct? For simplicity's sake, I did have some terminals over here. We have a quantum ring so that we would be able to autocraft with these guys. And what these guys are essentially Hellfire Forges. You have 4 slots to input, you need Demon Will, and you will have 1 output. And hence on these machines we have 4 input hatches and 1 output. The item input hatches can be replaced with fluid input hatches, which sometimes you need in order to make some of the recipes. For example, here we need water and we need 2 of them. Because the thing is, on these machines you're only allowed to use tiny item inputs, which gives you 1 slot, and normal fluid input hatches, which gives you 1 bucket. So over here, for example, I do have a pattern for water reagent, which in the Hellfire Forge, it does require 2 buckets of water. And over here, I have to have 2 fluid input hatches with water. That will just make it 2 buckets. And to be very honest with you, if I knew that you can only use a tiny item input or a small fluid input, I would have just automated the Hellfire Forge, because for autocrafting with these huge machines, what you need to do is that you still need to filter out the items. I could have done the same thing with the Hellfire Forge instead of automating that thing, because this is just 1 block, that's like 400. But the recipes inside the Hellfire Forge also require Demon Will, and for that you do have an input hatch. And it took me a few minutes to realize how do you fill it in. Because if you right click on the Demon Will input hatch, there's no GUI. And these are costume machines, so there's no guide for them. Apparently what you need to do is to have a demon crucible with a tartaric gem inside. And yeah, it does eat through the will. Another thing is that I'm actually recording this while editing the footage, so the episode has already ended. But the goal was to make Closure Eye, which requires Essence of Fear, Essence of Darkness, Essence of Helplessness, and Essence of Solitude. So if we order one, items will go inside this crate. Oh, it's ready. Okay, that was fast. But basically, since we have 4 ingredients and we only have a tiny input hatch, I'm sending everything inside a storage crate from Immersive Engineering, and the interface is locked until crafting is complete. So everything goes into the crate, we distribute it between the input hatches, and the output hatch is going to output the result into this phantom face. And the phantom face is linked to the interface, so that the interface will know that the crafting job is completed because the item is returned to the interface through the phantom face. And I think that was everything. I have automated every single item that we needed for Closure Eyes, so yeah. You can watch the rest of the video. Future Lash out. So now we can proceed with making different essences. For the essences, we have already taken care of the reagents, we have taken care of arcane ashes. The ODB core from Meatballcraft should not be a big deal. The stable fabric is fine. Dreadium plate should also be fine. But it does require the dread cloth, which is not fine because we need dread fragments. Thankfully, there is a cheaty recipe for it using EMC, so we do that. Again, everything is automated except this one. And this one is a bit painful because we have to use the distillery and we have to automate it. And Leonard, you're very loud. Very loud. I might have to kill you. So the distillery does require power from the altar, otherwise it's not gonna work. So whatever we do, we have to do it here. Actually, ignore what I just mentioned. We can have a garbage altar over here for decorations. The problem is that the distillery is also incredibly site sensitive. You have to insert items from the top. I guess the bottom is output. Yes. And since it does run with blaze powder, maybe we should also export that. Yeah, it's going in. Lovely. The interface is also locked until primary crafting results are returned, because otherwise it's going to get clogged up. But let's try to craft some 100 and see how it goes. It's very slow. What can you do? I can't really find anything to complain except the speed, which is really not my fault. So now, everything that we needed in order to make the different essences are now on auto crafting, correct? There could be resource issues somewhere, but at least we know how to craft them. Now we need to make the actual essences. Apparently there's a multi-block which does that, and well, this is the multi-block. It has exactly the same problem, meaning that you have to use tiny item inputs. And also the worst part of it is I have to find the abyssal flesh for some reason, and also call a meteor to summon a demon stone. I don't want to do that. We will automate the alchemy table. It's easier. I mean, if I also knew the problem with the Berserker forge, that it uses tiny input hatches, I wouldn't have made them as well. But I had already made 6, so what can you do? Also, you might need a bit of leaves for more power. Not really. Anyways, let's see if we can actually automate the alchemy table. There was a GUI inside the alchemy table, but it's not happening in this version apparently. So by sheer luck, we're actually starting from Essence of Darkness. We already have a few of them for something that we had to craft a while ago. But do you go in? Do you go in a crate? Good. Do you go in from the crate into the table? Nah, any side. Okay, that side works. And if I give you the orb, you should work, right? Lovely. Can I extract from the bottom? Not really. Okay, we can do this. Under our Dragon Forge, I have set up the alchemy tables because I don't really know how to hide the cables on these guys, but basically we have 4 interfaces, all of them have a single pattern, and if we want to order, I don't know, 3 Essence of Darkness, here's what's going to happen. The interface is locked until primary crafting results is returned. The ME interface is going to pump in the items into the wooden storage crate. We have a limited item filter, so only 1 item goes in at a time. It's going to be crafted, and we have to extract from this side. And we're just going to pump it back into the interface. And you see, it was already crafted. I have to do the exact same thing with the other alchemy tables, but we also need orbs. That was the highest tier of orb. We go with this one. We just have to make sure that they're bound to us, so that it drains the LP from the altar. Oh, my levels. Yes, much better. I think the most garbage orb would also work, but I have like 11,000 blood shards, so don't worry. I have set in the filters for all 4 essences, but we also need something else. Blaze Cluster. This is from Meatballcraft. The way that it works, I just noticed something. So apparently there are cosmic fragments and they're way more efficient inside the Crystallizer. It might be something which is one-time use and you have to constantly get them, or I don't know. In any case, getting it is going to be a rabbit hole. So here is what I have done. We have an array of crystallizers like so. And instead of using one crystallizer with one interface, what I'm doing is that I have an interface going into a barrel and then distributing the job between 10 crystallizers. And then I have an EMC link providing the fuel to the crystallizers. So crafting the blaze cluster is a bit faster. It's actually not that bad. I'm assuming it's actually faster than this, because we're getting 40 each time. This one gives us half a stack. Besides, the best thing about this guy is that I can expand this by a lot. Which, now that I'm thinking of it, let's do that. There are a few recipes that do require the cluster from Meatballcraft, so if we do manage to make this go super fast, well, we're set. Forever. So that is a set of 20 crystallizers, and wow. Speed is nice. It's actually quite nice. I like that one. For some other recipes, we only had 2 crystallizers, which were making us Dredium, Carbon, and Abyssalnite. So I'm just gonna transfer them here. This is way faster. Just in case you're wondering, the problem is that the crystallizer works the same speed as a normal vanilla furnace, and you can't really speed it up, so yeah. Now that we have almost everything, let's see if we can make the closure eye. This is our goal. Can I have 100? Why? I do understand that I don't have a recipe for shiny scales. That part I already knew. So let's have a pattern. So can I have 100? Here goes nothing. Let's hope nothing breaks. For some reason, it's not breaking. And it's working. Don't really know why. Well, that really went well. Surprisingly well. Now that we have this item and we can easily make the hint of sanity, I wanted to order 1,000 of it. You might notice we have a bit of a problem. Do we have a chunk loading issue? Because I didn't used to have that many problems. Yeah. Now it's good. I was under the impression this place is chunk loaded. AE system is confused sometimes, it's fine. Anyways, you might notice that one of the things that we were missing which doesn't have EMC is world threads. And this is a giant rift from dimensional doors, so I was wondering maybe we can have some? I just put an item collector on a chest, which maybe we should switch it with an ender chest, because this rift automatically generates us world threads. So it is going to generate some, the item collector is going to pick it up and put it inside our system. And maybe we can chunk load this place for a while? There is a recipe for making world threads, but it does take a while. Wow. Well, this is better, but it requires refined life essence, which requires like 4 multi-blocks. That one is cheap and for free. But in the meantime, I think I can have 500 more closure eye. Yes. Make it then. Because you see, the gist of it is 1 closure eye gives you 4 buckets of hint of insanity, and you need 50 millibuckets in order to process the eggs. So each one gives you like 80 iterations, which is not that much. Also, Leonard, please shut up. I don't know what the hell is he casting. Anyways, moving on from Leonard, we have 2 more spatial crucibles. I just set them up and hooked them up to applied energistics, and there are a few things that we need to do. So what we have made at this very moment is closure eye, correct? That's going to give us the hint of insanity. That means on the export bus, we're going to export it out into the input hatch, and voila. And yes, we're getting hint of insanity. Perfect. So that is off the list. Now we need the hint of divinity. So obviously what it does require is a divine stone. We do need some coins. It's the gold coin and silver coin and divine iron wood. Thankfully for that we are already prepared. At least that is the hope. Yeah, we have almost 150,000 raw iron wood. So that's gonna work. Oh, and it's so fast. Thank you. For that one, we need to do this a teeny tiny bit differently, meaning that we're going to have an interface. We're going to export 1 stack of each item, like so. And as usual, we're going to use conduits with limited item filters. You know, so that we will only have 1 stack of item inside the item input. That's it. Because otherwise it's just gonna fill it in with coins. We don't want it to do that. Also, while we're at it, let's order, I don't know, 5,000 of these things. Yeah, we can do that. So that it's going to run for a while at least, but very cool. Hint of divinity. And I think now it's time to start using our dimensional transceivers that we automated last episode. Or maybe it was this one, I'm not sure. So you have power, you don't have power. Do you need capacitors? Maybe that is for power transfer. I'm not sure. But we will see. Yeah, that's for power. So we're going to make a channel for Hint of Divinity, and I have just realized there's a configuration option for the dimensional transceiver, so can you pull? How would I know? We'll use a conduit. Now that we are producing both fluids, we need a brand new machine, Shadow Fracturer. That is exactly what is going to process the enchanted egg and give us the ingots or the resources. And I think we're going to go with 2 of them as soon as my wood is ready. Takes a bit of time apparently. 2000 LP, come on. Also, it's been a while. Did we get any world threads? How would I know? Since Shadow Fracture is part of ore processing, I really wanted to set them up over here, but unfortunately they're unnecessarily too big. It's technically a 5x5x5, so I am incredibly sorry, but we're going to set them up over here, if possible. And yes, it does require a soul cage. Don't really know why. Okay, it does fit. I didn't want to load a new chunk, we just cover it somehow. That's a shulker box, and it's empty. Why do I have a shulker box? Okay, it doesn't really matter. Let's finish this. We really want to be able to auto-craft with this machine, so we do need to have a cable from our applied energistics, which is going to be really fine because we have a P2P tunnel and we were using only 8 channels. Since we are short on space, we're going to use these kind of interfaces. And I guess with the dimensional transceivers, we can cheat and use a teeny tiny bit less. So Hint of Insanity and Hint of Divinity on receive. So if I pump it out, will you go in? No. Okay, we'll fix it. I have not used the dimensional transceiver in years. As you used to have tesseracts from extra utilities, why would you use dimensional transceivers? So how do you work? So you're going to be hint of insanity send, I think. And you're going to be sent on hint of divinity. Let's see if it works. Yes, we're getting the fluid. Both of them? No. Let me fix it. Aha, so they need power. Didn't know that. Yeah, now we're getting it over here. Okay, it's still fine. I can live with that. I have installed 8 arcane ensorcellators from thermal expansions because I think some of the ingots that I need do have a singularity. We don't really want to wait 8 million years just for a singularity, but here's what we're going to do. We're going to start with polonium. You should know how to cut the garnets. And then we're going to have a pattern that 1 enchanted polonium egg gives us 8 polonium ingots. What we have done today, if it works, it was the greatest thing that we have done. We would be able to finally start progressing. So you go over there and let me order some polonium. Does it work? Come on, please work. Why doesn't it work? Wait a minute. Do you need the essence of knowledge? It's really not a big oops, but we will see. I thought it gives you knowledge. I forgot, this is Meatballcraft. Nothing comes for free. So do you need knowledge? Oh, okay. That was the problem. It needed knowledge. And the reason that we're not getting the results in our system is because I forgot the ender chest. Because the output hatch is over here. Now there's another problem. I missed the block. It's okay, I have to move the ME mythic thingy later on. But yeah, we just got our polonium. So the system works. Ah, you know why I made a boo-boo? This thing was off-centered. Okay, it has been off-centered for like 10 episodes. But cool, finally we have some actual decent ore processing. I'm happy with that. And I'm gonna kill Leonard. Actually, later I'm just gonna move him. But by having ore processing, my fellow lords and ladies of darkness, I think it's also a good time to wrap up the episode. Thank you so much for watching, and I hope you enjoyed it. Till the next one. Bye bye.